Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. As always, I've got Richard and Sean with me.
Hello.
Hey guys, what's up?
We are on to minute 108. Yep. We're in the middle of the week. We don't have any housekeeping, so Sean, I pass it on to you.
All right, we're going to start minute 108 with Taylor and Nova still riding towards the left off the screen, and it ends with Lucius saying, "What about the future?" And as minute 108, we've got 2 living humans, 2 confirmed dead, poor Dodge and Stewart, 1 dead ape, a shrewdness of apes, and a gaggle of humans. And now we're back into our long shots of, here's 10 seconds of people running across a bridge.
And we're... tap those brakes because it's about to get worse, but we can at least have a little action here.
So your shot that you referenced in the last, we have when Taylor and Nova ride off, we actually have Cornelius and Lucius and Zira breaking that plane and moving over to
the point of information.
To the point of information to come and actually untie Zaius. And of course he shouts it, "Untie me!"
He's a little bit of a commanding bitch.
Mm-hmm.
He is a diva. Zaius the diva. So as Taylor rides away, and that is in the next shot, is it not, Richard?
The next shot, yeah. They walk over and they actually, there it is. Yeah. Nope. The gorillas come in.
The gorillas come in. They untie him.
To which I was going to say, these damn apes never keep their word. If it weren't for Zaius, the gorillas would just keep on continuing to hunt down Taylor eventually.
It's almost like the gorillas are the most animalistic of the apes.
Yeah.
They operate on a simple instinct basis. It's never rational and reasoning.
I think their vision is based on movement.
Shooter!
So Taylor and Nova have ridden away.
Yes.
And before we get into kind of the next minutes, we actually have the resolution of what is about to happen with Zira and Cornelius.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what happens. They rush over, they untie Zaius. The gorilla monkeys just psychically knew to round the corner to come after them, right? I mean, it was kind of weird. Maybe they could see him. Maybe there was a lookout and they could see him walk by because we don't get that sense.
I think that's exactly. They were up on the ledge looking
watching
down.
And they see Taylor right off.
When he moves, go after him.
Yeah, so Zaius says, "Untie me." And Zira and Cornelius rush over to untie him. Some of the gorilla warriors ride around, and Zaius stops them. Yep. No, wait, let him go. Let him go.
Which that gets to the point where we go for the shot of Taylor riding away, the gorillas coming into frame, chasing him. Taylor is the most unaware.
He doesn't fire the gun or anything. Yeah,
he doesn't look. He doesn't hear the horses coming after him until over the sound of the ocean, over the sound of the horses all around him, he kind of looks and goes, "What?" Huh? He has no idea of the impending doom that is right behind him.
Yeah.
It drove me freaking nuts, but at the same time, it goes back to what we've said from the very beginning.
He's a thick-headed fool.
Moron. Absolute moron.
Why does Zaius stop them?
Because I think at this point, he wants Taylor, go.
Go be disappointed.
Yeah, go have your little heart broken, you absolute imbecile.
Yeah.
Go look at the things that you did to yourselves.
And don't come human crawling back to me at the end.
He basically ape slapped him at this point.
Yeah.
So we released him for those very reasons. We let him go. And we've already talked in the pre-pro this minute. We're about to get into a lot of writing, a lot of vistas, a lot of nothing. There's not even character thought. We don't get tight shots of faces.
They're plotting towards the end of this movie.
Right.
There is something I found really fascinating about this next little bit. Was it here?
Was what, Cornelius?
Yes.
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 Cornelius
yes.
was so sure that they were scot-free, but now I bet he's regretting not taking that road trip with Taylor.
So Zaius says to the guerrilla warriors, "Lieutenant, fetch your explosive. We're going to seal the cave."
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he's got his end game plan. Like,
we're getting rid of the evidence.
Taylor can ride away. That's it. Yeah, his evidence. And we're going to get rid of even further evidence by blowing up the cave. So Cornelius says, seal the cave. And Zaius says, "That's correct. And you will both stand trial for heresy."
Wah, wah.
So whatever conversation they thought before, whatever Zira and Cornelius thought would
was going to
save
happen.
them,
Nope.
It's not going to save them.
I think the most telling thing in all of Zaius' little diatribe here, I mean, he's a bitch. He's blowing up the cave, charging with heresy. What he does, he derives no pleasure. But the most telling comment is, there can be no proof. There can be no proof.
Zira says, but the proof, the doll. And Zaius says, in a few minutes, there will be no doll. There can't be. And according to the script, it says, honest regret, I'm sorry.
Which, I don't think he says I'm sorry in the film.
He does.
Does he say I'm sorry? Mm-hmm. But why can there be no proof? Because he knows how tumultuous this whole religious structure is. All the things that he knows. And if there is any of this, they'll begin to understand.
It's based on a shaky foundation to begin with, yeah.
They'll begin to understand that the lawgiver's laws are full of shit.
There you go.
So once again, it comes back to the fact he knows what's out there. And if this gets out, people will go beyond the Forbidden Land. They'll see the big statue that man erected. What's beyond the Statue of Liberty? Could be more.
Well, that's I suppose that's it. Zaius does not want anybody to cross the Forbidden Zone to move into the area where they might actually find ruins or any evidence of man actually being the dumb creature that he already is. Right?
Right.
So Cornelius says, you mustn't. You promised. And Zaius says, what I do with no pleasure. Silence him.
Right. Yeah, Cornelius at one point goes, Dr. Zaius. And I want you to loop that into the actual song.
Dr. Zaius, you mustn't. You gave your promise. You promised. It's just kind of whatever Zira and Cornelius were hoping for is just dashed. Is just
Well, they
gone.
were foolhardy to believe any. So you go up there and you show him things in a cave.
Thinking it's going to change his mind.
Thinking you've made your
That's
case.
exactly it. You're going to change his mind because it's eventually going to go to a court of ape law, and you have no proof. It's only your
Your talking human has rode away, and you blew up my case.
So it's relevant. It's very relevant that they did not hear the conversation they just had with Taylor.
Bingo. Yeah.
Very relevant they did not hear that conversation about the Forbidden Zone and what man did and all those kinds of things.
Right.
Because then they would know that Cornelius Zaius is aware of their evidence, that he knows where it's going.
All I could think at this point is we saw at the very first of the film, roughly at the 30-minute mark, that apes have the technology of photography. Yeah. Why isn't Cornelius documenting his digs and saying, here's what I found? And you want to really get into it, then he could get on a horse, follow Taylor, take a picture of the Statue of Liberty, and bing, I win.
Well, I mean, he's not a super wealthy archaeologist.
Maybe
his grant from the University of Phoenix may not have come through. And he can't afford the actual camera equipment. Yeah, Albuquerque, exactly.
And then
Phoenix Albuquerque.
And then we get Lucius being very, very dramatic, don't we?
I know. Well, yeah, he says, Dr. Zaius, this is inexcusable. Why must knowledge stand still? What about the future?
What about when your men were beating me?
But that's something you would expect a line to be delivered by the under 30 set. I mean, this is very much who Lucius is. I don't think it was a question to the audience about mankind or mankind's direction. I think it was specifically meant to be something that a teen would say.
I think that's true, and I think there's also that rule of writing, and I can't remember the exact quote, that a character must ask why. When a hypocrisy exists, they either must ignore it or they must ask why. And so I think he's doing exactly that, but it again goes back to what we talked about before. Like Star Wars, you can write the shit, but you can't say it. Because what he says is not what a teenager would say.
Yeah, I mean,
a teenager would.
Very dramatic.
I'm looking at my 15-year-old, and her 15-year-old response is, "That's not fair."
Right. I'm going to brush my hair in front of my face and walk away.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on my phone and ignore what just happened.
You're the boss.
I think whenever there's a moment before where he says something to Taylor or someone that you're like all the adults or something like that, that's a much more honest response here. Once again, the adults lying to us. That would have been honest. But I also understand they're trying to build a script that poses the questions so the questions can be answered.
When Zaius says, to responding to Cornelius, what I do with no pleasure, silence him. Cornelius is dragged off.
Yeah.
He is bitch slapped.
He's taken away. He is taken away. And we can get into that in the next minute we'll get into that in the next minute.
We don't see him again.
They're in the next minute.
Oh, do we?
I believe they are.
Oh, Richard said we can't talk about the next minute.
We can't talk about the next minute, but it makes sense because Cornelius has just been dragged off. That while this line might have been able to have been read by Cornelius, Cornelius has now been silenced. So they had to give the line to somebody, and Lucius would say this. We're coming at it from the perspective of being a teenager.
Yeah.
But he's actually possibly giving Cornelius' next answer.
I almost wish that we would get to a shot where Cornelius is wearing that same getup that Taylor had on, where his arms are behind his back.
With the stick in it?
Yeah. At that point, I kind of feel like he needs to be cuckolded just a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah, so it was just, the Lucius line does sound like something, it doesn't sound like a teenager, but it's a question that a teenager could potentially ask.
Okay, and to
but
that,
it may be because Cornelius should have said this, but he's been taken away.
So, regardless of who says it, why does knowledge have to stand still? Isn't that the age-old structure, though? Because you start looking, youth questions authority and structure, and wisdom says if you upset the balance, you change things too much. So is that, once again, we're trying to simply illuminate the truth of humanity beneath ape makeup?
Why must knowledge stand still? What about the future? I mean, is this moving back to science versus religion?
A little bit. I think that all of it moves back. It advances. We want to talk about specifics, but I think it comes back to what humanity is. Because, once again, the best of sci-fi can... The Day the Earth Stood Still is not about aliens coming to the planet. It's about
how humans react.
Yes, react to what we don't understand.
Change is scary, yeah.
And so in this, I think it's the same thing. It's not about apes. It's not about that. It's about who we are as humans. The apes are more human than we are as humans at points. So I think that Julius, whether it's Julius or Cornelius asking it, I think the truth has to be, why are we so afraid of knowledge? Because it upsets the balance. Because we have a balance right now that is what
power.
It is.
Right.
And at some point, if I can control the truth, I can control the norm.
I mean, if Lucius wanted to kind of get a final dig at Zaius, he could have said, "Then history is doomed to repeat itself." You know?
Oh, yes,
that would have been where this line would have. To me, that's where this line would have gone next.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a short little minute.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, we've ended with basically Zaius confirming that they're both going to be trialed for heresy.
Right.
I mean, that
is the big development.
We now know at this particular moment, without going future, that is their fate is sealed.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were going to get out, and they're not.
I guess we'll have to see what happened.
Yeah.
We'll have to rest up and come back Thursday.
I wonder if they're going to have some kind of Stephen Bochco court-based TV show for Law of the Planet of the Apes or something like that, where they take Cornelius and Zira in, and we have a whole procedural
Does it turn
crime
into a
drama.
musical as well?
Everything turns into a musical, Sean. You know that about
Ape
me.
Rock?
Ape. Oh, my God. I want to see that show. All right, so that's minute 108 in the books. For Richard and Sean, I'm Todd. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you guys on Thursday. Coming up.
The Minute of the Apes.